Hello people of YouTube and welcome back. So this is part 2 of a collection video that I started last week. I don't know, whenever I've uploaded it. 5 minutes ago for me. So yeah, someone graciously asked a question regarding my collection. So if you've not seen it before, I'm just going to do the spiel again quickly. Basically my PS4 collection is quite vast, and in my PS4 collection I have games that are fit for playing on the arcade. These arcade machines are set up with a PS4 in them. Well, this one is, but this one will eventually. This one's got a Switch in at the moment, and a PC that's running these games. And yeah, so I just want to have, instead of going through all my shelves, I just want to be able to pull a game out quick and easy, just like that. But arcades are very genre specific. There's a lot of arcade style games. They don't have to be arcade games specifically, just games that will play on the arcade and you'll have a great time with them with an arcade stick and buttons, and that's all you need. So that really, for the modern era, that really sort of like suits itself for a few genres, specifically fighters and brawlers like Streets of Rage, which I've shown in my previous video, and right now one of my favorites, and that is Shmups, and that's where we're going for now. Now I've got quite a lot of Shmups on the what you call it here, on digitally, one that you can't really see right now. It seems to be overblown brightness, and that's Ikaruga. A lot of people love that game. I don't have that physically, unfortunately, although there is a PS4 release physically, and I will get that eventually, but I'm not a massive fan of it, and I already own it, so you know, what do you do? Anyway, right, let's see what I've actually got. So first up, we've got the Toaplan Arcade Garage Volume, I think this is 2. I think I've gone out of sync here. So these are all my Japanese games that I'm going to be doing first, but as we all know, a lot of the thing is with the modern games, like a lot of them have got multiple language options, and realistically, as long as you can muddle through the menus, what do you need a language for when you're just shooting the crap out of everything in the skies? So yeah, this is I can't remember which Toaplan collection it is, but this is basically Flying Shark and Fire Shark. So you get 2 games, however you get multiple iterations of them. You get the Mega Drive, the arcade, NES, quite a lot of like cool variations to play through, and this gives it quite a good little package. However, what I don't like about it is you need to download some of the games. So like the NES versions, and I think the Mega Drive version you have to download as well. So because it is a Japanese one, I have to get a second account, which is a Japanese account, just to download them. Even though the code's there and they're ready to go, you have to do that. It's a bit annoying because we're buying physical media, so you don't have to do that. But hey ho, it is what it is. And yeah, a great collection of games that are just like shmup royalty, I've got to say. And then the Kayukio Tiger collection, the Tiger Heli and Kayukio Tiger, of course. Another couple of games that are cemented in shmup royalty. This is the Toaplan Arcade Garage Volume. I don't know, actually, it doesn't actually say volumes, but it is one of them anyway. I've not actually managed to open this, but I play this quite regular on my PC Engine and the Mega Drive. Again, this will probably have the PC Engine, the Mega Drive, and I think more specifically the arcade game on disc anyway. So yeah, great to have. Again, I'm kind of going for a full shmup subset for the PS4 because it's one of my favorite genres. But there's a lot of tap that's been recently released by sort of like smaller companies, so maybe that dream of having a full shmup set might go out the window a little bit, and just get the ones that I really want. My collection's big enough as it is. So next up we have got in the Toaplan Arcade collection, and we've got Zero Wing and Hellfire, which are another couple of classic games that are sort of like more known for the Mega Drive ports, at least over here, than the arcade ones, at least for myself anyway. That being said, these are both fantastic games that I've played regular amounts. Hellfire probably more so. However, I do think I like Zero Wing more. All your bases belong to us. I mean, it's a classic meme, isn't it? So this comes with a nice little sticker. Unfortunately, it's got that bit of masking tape around it that kind of ruins it a little bit. I'll have to put this in the tat drawer eventually. Maybe I should just open it up and put it inside. I don't know. Anyway, we're talking about the games. Classic shmups. Again, Toaplan knew what they was doing. And well, let's skip forward and get this one. I just saw this. Again, there's no rhyme to reason other than these are all Japanese ones. Another Toaplan where they basically raised the game. This was they knew what they was doing at this point, and they fucking smashed it out of the park. As you can see, I've got it on the arcade over here. This is just on MAME emulation at the moment, but we've got the PS4 one, which has been thoroughly played. We did a high score challenge, just a few of us, and yeah, this game, however great, is absolutely brutal, especially when you're trying to 1cc and get a good high score and everything like that. But honestly, the only way to learn these games is by just limiting yourself with 1 credit. It's hard to do at first, but once you do, you learn how to play these games properly. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy from time to time, which I'm doing a bit more this year. I have actually started doing a bit more where I'm actually just chucking all the quarters. Who am I, American? Next I'll be calling CEX bloody GameStop. What's wrong with me? Yeah, putting a load of credits in and then just playing the game to the end. And I do enjoy doing a bit of both now. There was the last probably 3 or 4 years, I was staunch. I can only put 1 credit in, and then that is it. That is. But like, yeah, I've started to hit a brick wall. I think with my gaming abilities. So I also want to see what the games actually unfold like. And yeah, just throwing a load of credits in is the way to do it sometimes. But if you want to look, like I say, if you want to learn the games, do it properly. Dodonpachi, oh fuck's sake, Fukushu. It's not Fukushu. Fukatsu. I'm terrible at this. But yeah, this is a PS2 game, arcade game of course, in the Dodonpachi series. This does come in a lovely, massive, calendar-shaped special edition that is up there, but it's in the Cave section. Again, Cave, one of their finest games in their series. I think this is the longest running game series that they have, I believe. Is it their best? I don't think so, but at the same time I really love it. Donpachi, probably my favourite, just because of the simplicity that it has on it. That being said, like, once you get into the rhythm of these, like this is a bullet hell shmup, and once you get into the rhythm of them, there's nothing like it. There really isn't. Such a fun game. We've got next up, we've got Raiden 4 Mikado Remix. So this one, is it, how many Raidens is there now? Is it 4 or 5? Is this the latest one? Yeah, I think this one isn't so good. It's okay. No, actually, yeah, Raiden 5 is the latest, isn't it? That's it. And this one, Raiden games really drop off as each release goes on. But yeah, I think this is the last okay one. 5 is good. I'm sure it's somewhere in there, so we can talk about it. But the graphics, again, watered down significantly. They lose the sort of like visual flair of the originals. Ray's Collection, Ray's Arcade Chronology. So I've actually played this weekend. Obviously, I played the games originally on the Saturn and the PS1. However, I never played them on the arcade. And this collection actually has the Ray Force, the Ray Storm, and Ray Crisis games. And they also have the HD versions of Ray Storm and Ray Crisis. So I played Ray Storm HD the other day, which I think originally was a 360 game. Great game. in some ways. However, it's fucking brutal because it's 3D. It goes fully 3D in the series. It's the first game in the series that goes 3D. Hence the reason why they've done a HD release of it. But I just find myself getting a bit lost in the environments, and I can't just enjoy the game doing like bullet dodging and everything like that. And then I went back to play Ray Force, and it was night and day for me. That is pixel visual artwork, and yeah, you can predict where the bullets are going to a certain extent. It was still brutally hard, but I just enjoyed that game a lot more just because I could see it. Basically, I do feel like Raystorm is just... There's a lot of bosses that were very similar to the first game. It's again, this is the first time I've actually beat these games, and it's because I've just put loads of quarters in. I'm doing it again now. A load of credits in and getting to the end, just brute forcing my way to the end. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but I felt dirty at the same time. Still need to play through the Ray Crisis games, and in fact I just want to go through the whole collection, probably sooner rather than later. A game I have on the Sega Saturn, and it's the game Paradise. Again, I never really knew about this game until I started collecting for the Sega Saturn, and boy, when I started playing it, I flipping fell in love with this game. It's probably not the best game or anything like that, but it's definitely up there with unique visual ideas. So basically, yeah, this throws a lot of like just craziness at you. I think you go into a karaoke machine and you're fighting through the words. You go into an arcade. Also, you go to a remote control kart circuit. Loads of bizarre little ideas that just wasn't happening back then, and probably even since. There's probably a few other games that are probably similar to this. I'm just thinking of Star Parodia on the PC Engine probably did this idea first. However, these probably... Did it perfect it? Maybe not, actually. But yeah, it's that parody shmup that I really enjoy. I really enjoy sort of like that tongue-in-cheek sort of gameplay. And next up, what's going on here? What is going on here? Right, we're going proper out of sync here. So we've got the Psikyo Shooting Library Volume 1. So there is a Volume 2 as well. Originally I bought this on the Switch, and then they announced that there was a PS4 version, and I already bought it. So I had to buy it for the PlayStation because I'm a PlayStation fanboy. That being said, I do really like the special editions that the Switch comes with. So I've kept both. I've done a Dylan double dip. So yeah, Psikyo again. I think I played Gunbird and maybe a bit of Strikers before. But I'd never played any of the other games into the series up until again I started collecting for the Sega Saturn, and even though I had a lot of them on the PS2 as well, I never really played them. And yeah, we did a bit of a shmup challenge on Strikers 1945 and Gunbird. I fell in love with them. This is probably up there with like one of my favourite styles of shmup gameplay. It's not quite bullet hell, but it kind of is a little bit hectic. The games sort of like have 4 stages that will just sort of like change every time you play. Always like a little bit difficult. The stages as they progress through the order get more difficult, but if you play that one of them first, it'll be really easy. So actually you have to learn the stages in different ways. It's quite unique and how they've done it, but I love how they do it. I'm not really into military shooters too much. I say that, but actually I'm starting to really fall in love with that genre, especially when it is so over the top as how Psikyo does it. Zero Gunner 2, that was a Dreamcast game that I never even heard of before. I actually don't even know where Zero Gunner 1 is. I don't know how you'd play that, but it's not on here. But yeah, like again, that game I fell in love with, and plays completely different than the rest. It's more of a 3D game. Not really a good fan of 3D games. However, that one is a good one. Next up, we've got the Cotton franchise with Guardian Force. Now, these are Sega Saturn ports, and yeah, we've gone absolutely cotton mad in collecting. Is it really worth I don't know, is it worth saturating the market with them? A lot of people see shmups now as cotton games, I think, in the fact that there's so many of them out there and people pick them up, and they're not bad games. They're not bad games, but I don't know, there's something about them that I can't quite get on with, and I love these kind of cute 'em up style games. Now, Guardian Force, completely different, really out of place on this, other than the fact it is a Saturn game by Success. So yeah, it kind of fits in some ways, but not. But I'm glad to put it on because I can't see it being in any other collection, and the more people get to play these games, the better. So yeah, I don't think I'll be able to play Guardian Force in the arcade. Yeah, that's fine. Ace of the Luftwaffe. So this game, top tier game, probably isn't an arcade game as much because this plays very differently. If anyone's played Skyforce before, this is basically sort of like a clone of that, in the fact that you start on a level and you have to sort of like level yourself up. There's like a few missions that you got to do on the way, like picking up like characters, making sure you don't get shot a certain amount of times, and that helps you earn more medals, and the more medals you earn, the better you can upgrade your ships and everything like that. So this is just more of the same of Skyforce, and that's not a bad thing. And then once you get the more medals, you can progress to more stages until you get to beat the game. And like I say, great concept, because it's sort of like you don't have to rely on credits so much. It's a different way of playing these games, and I think it makes it a bit more of a more substantial game. And I hope more games are released like this. Like I say, it probably isn't so much an arcade game, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and I have played it on the arcade a couple of times, and it does play on the arcade. But I've already unlocked all the stages, so you're probably thinking about 15 hours to go through to beat this game, maybe, especially with the DLC campaign, which is even harder stages where you play as the opposition. Anyway, next up we have got Radigy 2. I looked at the spine as if I can read it. Yeah, Radigy 2. So, not a massive fan of the first games, but I really love the art style. I love the visuals. I love the music, and it's such a cool game. So this is the latest one in the franchise, and as you can see, it's still sealed. So I can't tell you if it's any good. I think it will be good. I think it'll be a good game, but yeah. We have got, what is it? Miss Kayabosha Dragon something? Yeah. Again, as you can see, I've not played this, but this looks like a vertical shooter sort of cute 'em up. So so Dragon Maid Service, I don't know, someone tell me in the comments. There we go. Again, like I say, we're not in any kind of order. These were on order when it was on the shelves, but obviously taking them down here we don't. So we have got the Psikyo Collection 2, again sealed. I've not really played it on the PS4. I have played them all on the Switch, and I need to get around to it. And there's one game on here that surprised me on the second one, and I'll get to that in a bit. So we've got on here Sengoku Ace, Sengoku Blade, and Sengoku Cannon, which are a trilogy of obviously the Sengoku games, but they all play very differently. So Sengoku Ace is a vertical one, Blade is horizontal, and Sengoku Cannon was a PSP exclusive, which is very unusual. And then we've got the classics that are Gunbird 1 and 2. I think they need no introduction compared to the rest of the Psikyo games. Again, I played Gunbird back in the day on my trusty Dreamcast, and unfortunately, as did many people back then, I felt like I was lacking something. I wanted something more, and it's why these shmups never did as well as what they should have done. Because looking back at him now, like these games offer so much replayability, that other games don't. That's why I like shmups, and I can just have them lying around because I can 2 years time I'll be like, I just want to have like a full-on Gunbird session. Do you know what I mean? Although that's being said, Gunbird is one of them games that you just play every so often. But the game that surprised me, and it is Gunbariach. Now, when you say that, it sounds like a shmup, but it's not. Especially with it being on a shmup collection, well, a Psikyo collection, you know, expect it to be a shmup, but it's not. It's a bat and ball paddleball game, and I never heard of it before. And it's sort of like in the visual range of Gunbird. Fantastic, really cool game. If you like sort of like Arkanoid and stuff like that, you'll probably like this, although it is very different to the Arkanoid games. A lot more character. You have like the paddles like move around a little bit more. Really cool, and definitely try and give that game a go. Emulate it, whatever you need to do, because you can play all them games on MAME. You don't need to get them. You can just do a bit of the old dirty piracy. Pocky, hello. Pocky's coming. Next we've got Esbraid. I always thought this was part of the Esgaluda series, and because of it, I never really played it because I was never really a fan of the Esgaluda games. That being said, totally different game. This plays really differently. So, yeah, this is sort of like one of them shmups where you're almost like on your feet, sort of like it's sort of like Commando, but like not, where you kind of like, there is stuff that can get in the way of you and block your way and everything like that. Really cool game. I really need to put more time into this. I play it on my actual arcade a lot, and I think I might actually give that a game tonight. Cotton Rock and Roll. Again, this is the new game in the franchise, and yeah, it's good. This is also called Cotton Fantasy in the UK. Cotton something else. But the Japanese one, Cotton Rock and Roll, sounds so much more cooler. Yeah, it's just more Cotton, and love it or hate it. I don't think you can hate Cotton games. I really don't. I really like them. I like there's so much cool visual flair, but I just feel like I can't really get on with them as much as other shooters. It's weird because I don't mean to hate on it, because I don't. It's just there's better games such as Deathsmiles 1 and 2. Now, Deathsmiles 1, bona fide classic. Again, I knew about this game through the 360. Never played Deathsmiles 2 before, so it's nice to have this on this collection. What I've got to say, Deathsmiles 2 is not as good as 1. Deathsmiles 1 is a Halloween-based shmup, horizontal shmup, and 2 is a Christmas-based one. The story arc on it is a little bit creepy, I've got to say. You massage naked 14-year-old girls in it, and I was like, this is a bit weird. This is a bit weird. However, just don't worry about that stuff. Just play the game, because the game isn't creepy. It's just a good game. It's a good game. You get like an evil Santa in there that you got to kill, and yeah, just don't worry about the story. Just ignore that bit. Next up, we've got a game that was not very good. So much so, my cat was sick on it. As you can see there, like we've got like bits missing from the actual inlay because yeah, it's got cat sick on it. Very big disappointment in this game. Yeah, it feels like a Euro shmup. Doesn't smell like sick. I've cleaned it. Yeah, a bit of a disappointment. It only came out recently, so yeah, just if you're interested in the Gundam series, it might be worth it, but for me it wasn't. Not like GG Aleste. This is the Aleste collection, so this is double-sided. People probably know that cover more. Yeah, only came out in Japan. There is a cool big box version of this that I won't mind getting, because you get a little Game Gear with GG Aleste free on it. So this basically, a lot of people know these games as Power Strike. However, there was also the Game Gear ones, which are their own games. And yeah, this is, I think it's like basically 5 games. And the third one was unreleased. This is the only way you can get the third one. and oh boy, it's worth it just for that one game alone. Really fantastic. Again, we had a bit of a high score challenge on that, and fucking got really addicted to it. Really good. Well worth your time, anyone's time. Try and track that down, and I'd love to get that one with the Game Gear. I need to get it. Next up, we have got a cave game that I've heard of, but only really got into playing when I started going to Arcade Club. And I played it, really enjoyed it, and then I wanted to get it. So I got the PS3 version, and at the time I was using PS4 controllers to play the game, and strangely the PS4 controller works great with a PS3, except for when you use the D-pad wirelessly, only in wireless mode. And if you use the D-pad, you can't use the diagonals. You can only go left, right, up, down with the D-pad. And you don't use... Who uses analog sticks when you're playing a shmup? You just don't do that. That's just proper no-no. So the only way I could play it is by putting a cable into the controller, and then it worked fine then. Strange, weird little bug that it has. But yeah, because of that, I was like, I need to get it better. And I got the PS4 version. So I got both, because you got to have both, and obviously I can play it on the arcade. Fantastic game. Another military base style looking shmup, but it's by Cave, so it's absolutely bullet hell mayhem. This game, I don't know why it clicks with me a lot more so than any of the other Cave games. It's like I can predict the patterns a lot easier on this game than any of the other Cave games, but with repetition there's learning, and all of them are great. Still not managed to 1cc it yet, but I would love to one day. Just a great game, especially when you get all the power-ups and all the extras coming up to you, and it's just a visual treat. Next up we have got Trouble Witches. Again, not really played this much. I put it in and I've not played it, but I need to put more time in it. This looks fantastic. Again, never really played it before other than playing it on this, and yeah, again, I've got problem is I have too many games and it overwhelms me because there's so many good games to play. Next up, Cyvaria Delta. Now this is an okay game. The Cyvaria games are always a little bit of a disappointment to me. They always feel a little bit lacking in the visuals. However, the gameplay is solid gameplay. But for me, shmups it's always about that visual treat and a nice soundtrack. And there's nothing terrible about them, but it's just nothing that's amazing about them. So yeah, it's a good 7 out of 10 game, and most genres that'll be up there with the best. But shmups, there's so many top tier games that like just outshine this, and like I say, there's nothing wrong with it. The gameplay itself is good. I'd rather play that than Raiden 5. Next up, a game again, I've not played this yet. I've been meaning to play this, and it's Super Hydora on the PS4. Now, as the time of I'm making this, it's funny because I was talking about this to one of my friends, and there's a copy on eBay for like 40 quid sealed, this special edition one. So if that's up there, go grab it, because that's a flipping deal. And let me know if you did, or if it is your copy, because yeah, that is a great deal. Limited run game, sort of like a little bit Gradius-y. I think that's the kind of the visual aspect that it was going for. Great game. Well, it looks great. I'm looking forward to playing it. I need to play it sooner rather than later. I need to, instead of making these videos talking about them all, I need to play them, don't I? Next up, we have got R-Type Final 2. Now, I want to love. Annoyingly, look, it's got this weird slip cover that just is frustrating. It looks great when it's all sealed, and when you unseal it, it all just falls apart like this. Don't know what they was thinking. Do not know what they was thinking. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the game, and the R-Type games are fantastic, and this tries to sort of relive the sort of R-Type franchise, like what was good about the games before. Sort of tries to do it, but I just don't think I think it falls a little bit flat. Unfortunately, it's not a terrible game. Jesus, I've just realised how many games I've got left to go through. Sorry, this is going to be a long video. But yeah, I think visually this could have been better. There is R-Type Final 3, which funny enough is just R-Type 2. It's just an upgraded version of it, so that's a bit weird. So we've got, next up, we've got 2 games here that you can't really tell. So you've got Ginga Force and Natsumi Chronicles. These are great games. Unfortunately, the physical releases took forever to come out by first press, but they did a good job. So this is Ginga Force. This one is is it a horizontal shooter? Is this the horizontal shooter? One's a vertical shooter, one's a horizontal. They're both by what's it called? QUTE. I think one was on the 360 and one wasn't. And yeah, these are great games. I have, like, the thing is, I actually opened one up just to see what was inside and everything like that. This one's sealed. However, I waited so long for these games, I had to get them digitally because I just felt like I wasn't going to get them, and I was really looking forward to them. Like I say, the packages in the end are great. They're 3D games, but they feel very 2D, and they're not that bad. They're not bad lookers. I can't fully get into them, but I want to. It's got this weird pull, draw for me that I just keep going back to them, just like every so often, and trying to go back and playing them. So I've not played this game, I don't think. A lot of these games by Red Art Games you could pick up for like £2 digitally. I love the artwork on this one. The artwork is good. They are weird because they're not bad games, but they're not like, they're never gonna topple a cave game. They are like, when you get these kind of Red Art games, they all look the same. They've got all like this pixel art and everything like that. They're not bad games. They just don't have much depth to them. You will play them and you'll forget about them. However, you'll have a great time playing them. I've got to admit, I really do like that. And again, here's another one of them. Void Gore, definitely played that one. The artwork is very similar. Like the game is very similar to that. They all have like their own like little unique differences. I maybe won't go back and play one of them as well, just to see if I remember it. Terror Trilogy. So these are sort of like early 8-bit arcade games. So one's a bit like Lunar Lander, one's a little bit like Lunar Bomber. I'm assuming that will be like Lunar Bomber. I'm assuming that will be like, what's that Konami game? That early Konami game probably. And then you got Rockside Rescue, which I'm guessing is a bit like Thrust. So yeah, cheap. And yeah, I won't mind giving them a go. So we've got here, this is a cool release. This is what some of these should have been like. And actually these are better than a lot of the other Red Art games. And it's Star Hunter DX and Space Moth. So this is 2 games. One's a horizontal game and one's a vertical game shooter. And yeah, I can't remember which one I played. I think it was Space Moth. And that was a really good game. And I can remember thinking, I need to put a bit more time into this. So I need to go back. Actually, it's not Red Art, it's Strictly Limited. That was maybe why they were a good company. It's a shame. More Red Art Tat. Now, this is Space Wing Worm. Now, I don't really know much about it other than it comes in this Game Boy cart, and I think it's like a Game Boy Color looking game. Definitely not played that game. But like I say, them games are actually quite fun, but they're just a little bit, they don't really have that depth. They don't have that replayability as some of the others. Space Elite Force 2-in-1. It's not the most enticing titles, but again, needed to get it, and I do look forward to playing it, to be honest. Sisters Royale. So friggin' close to 1 CC in this game. I really need to do it. This is number 100 of 1500. Fantastic game. I kind of wish I got this special edition now. I didn't realize how much I would have liked this. Yeah, this has got like a graze mechanic. Again, a bit like what's it called? Not Escalade, whatever. You sort of like you're a running character in a constantly strolling game. So think Commando, but also like a space shooter in some ways. So there is bits that can get in the way. This is the first, I think, modern shmup that was like as quality as this game is for years. Like, I don't think there was anything like as good as this before this. So yeah, this is a highly recommended game from myself. Grab that when you can. Next up, we've got Soft Star. Again, this is very much akin to them. If this is another Red Art game, what I was saying, them sort of like 8-bit, 16-bit looking shmups. I think this one's a little bit better. I've actually got it on this Switch, so I've been able to play it in tape mode on here. So that's why this is still sealed. But I've not really completed it. I've not really got to the end of it. So I need to go back and play that a little bit more. R-Type Dimensions EX. Yeah, so this is basically R-Type. Is it 1 and 2? Yeah, 1 and 2. And they've got, you can either play the originals or the ones with the modern lick of paint. So, I mean, quality game. Everyone, who doesn't like R-Type? I mean, if you don't, there is something wrong with you. R-Type 2 is good, but it doesn't really get, it's still not as iconic as the first one, is it? So Rolling Gunner and Rolling Gunner Overpowered, realistically, shouldn't really be in this set. The reason why is this is like a twin stick shooter, so to play it with just an arcade stick is not going to cut it. You need to have a controller for this. Yeah, it's actually a really good game. Like even though it's like 3D, it sort of reminds me of what does it remind me of? Another game. But anyway, the Rolling Gunner is basically because you can use your D-pad to move the control, you stick around. Ride and 5, here we go, there we go. This is the dog turd in the pile. You have like a commentary track over it, I think, if I remember correctly. Is this a Spanish copy? No, it's not. Why is it? No, it's just got lots of languages in it. I thought it was Spanish. But yeah, it's a good game to play. I mean, it's not terrible, but the lineage it comes from, it's just got weaker and weaker as it goes on. Next up, we've got a monster here. So we have got Soul Crester, we've got the Japanese slipcover, and then we've got a limited run game inside. So thanks to what's his name, Addy Sneaker Freak, who threw his tat away in my direction. I love these first press game collections. Unfortunately, a lot of the shmups went onto Switch, and they don't really do many of the PS4 ones, which is a shame. And another annoying thing is they've got this flappy cover thing, so once you play them, it sort of like doesn't give you an incentive to open them and play them. Just get them digitally. Maybe that's what they're doing, because yeah, you want to have the flappage on it, because without the flappage, you don't know what system it's for. So yeah, I feel indifferent about that. So, but yeah, really cool. I love this. I love these. But yeah, the game itself. So this is a modern. It's a new entry in the Cresta series, like Moon Cresta and all that. And what makes this very standoutish is this is by Platinum Games, who make games like Bayonetta and stuff like that. Like the very unusual fighting games like brawlers. And this is like, I think it's the first shmup, at least it's the first like high profile shmup anyway. And yeah, it's great. They've given it that classic. This is fantastic, I've got to say. It gives it that classic look, but with a modern feeling, if that makes any kind of sense. You can tell the quality that is in this game. And what's unique about this game is you can do like sort of like Street Fighter moves to do like extra special attacks. Sort of like if you do like a fireball motion, you can do like weapons to the side of you to get them pesky creatures that are coming from behind you or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of nuance to this game, and I've not fully got to the end of this, and I actually need to go back and play this a little bit more because it is a good game. Again, another game. This should not be in the collection, but it's a Japanese game, although it doesn't have Japanese on the side, so that's why it's sort of like with the other Japanese games. But yeah, this is sort of like a twin stick shooter shmup. Yeah, it's got a very unique art style, and the way it plays is very unique as well. It's sort of like time based, where you can loop the level up until you get sort of a requirement of sort of like what you got to pick up, sort of like can't remember what it is, like souls. You kind of got like, I can't remember what the full story is, like you can't wake up or something. But yeah, very unique game, very different. Next up, we've got a lot of people say this is bad. I played the first one, that one truly is, but I don't know, there's something I like the look of on this game. Very Euro shootery, but yeah, looking forward to playing it. Another one, another red art piece of turd. It's not a piece of turd, but it's not, again, it's very Euro shootery. It's AI. Next up, we've got Hyper Sentinel, another strictly limited game. There was on fire. This is basically, is it Uridium? Basically a modern take on Uridium, I think. And I never really fully enjoyed Uridium, but it's cool to have, and it wasn't expensive, so it was a nice one to add to the collection. Next up, we've got Gundemonium. Again, I've played it because it's not sealed anymore. This is quite cheap on the PAL version, not the PAL version, the Japanese version, but I think there's like a limited run version which is a bit more expensive. But yeah, don't need to have an expensive one when you can get a Japanese one. I love the art style on this. I think this was originally a PS3 game, but yeah, cool little game that I can't really remember much about. Touhou Genso Rondo. Now, this is a Touhou game. I'm sure this is a shmup. I've got a feeling it might be a little bit like one of them versus shmups. I can't really remember. I have played it, but that was like one of my first PS4 games. Freedom Finger, again, one that you probably won't play in the arcade, but this game is fucking batshit crazy. I really enjoyed this game. Where the fuck have I put the poster? I think I was going to put the poster up, but where the hell have I put it? I don't know. But anyway, Freedom Finger. It's got character. I think it's got like Nolan. What's he called? Nolan North, the character from the guy that does all the voice work on Uncharted and stuff like that, and other crazy stuff. Characters, Bender's in it as well. You'll never recognise any of the characters' voices in it, and it's sort of like a music game in the fact that like there's a lot of like band music in here, and it's a very weird story based shmup that is just fucking weird, but it's definitely a must play for anyone who likes just weird things. You don't have to be a shmup fan, because it's not really a shmup. It's not a shmupper's shmup, if that makes sense. I'm making words up now, aren't I? Endo Crisis. This just looks nice and flashy. Still not played it. Darius Burst CS. I'm going through these fast now. Not really a big fan of the Darius Burst games. They just feel all epic-y for epicness sake. Not bad, but just I think they was just trying to show off like big screens on the arcade rather than actually have tight gameplay. Unlike G Darius HD, which was a PS1 game originally, but this has been tarted up and made a little bit nicer looking. And because I don't like 3D shmups and stuff, I went into this a little bit like I'm not really too fussed on it, but absolutely fell in love with this game. This is a great game, and yeah, great one in this. Probably one of the top tier Darius games. Next up, Crisis Wing. It's sealed. I've got this on the Switch, PS4, and Xbox. So I've always got Crisis Wing with me, so I don't need to unseal it. But yeah, this is very Toaplan feeling. Dare I say, Tatsujin, Truxton, style shmup. Brutally hard if you try and 1cc it, but you can get to the end of this no problem. Yeah, this is a must play for anyone. Again, a modern game with old school graphics. Cotton reboot. Again, this is just a reboot of the first game with modern graphics that look like Cotton Fantasy, Cotton Rock and Roll, Cotton 100. So I think this is the PS1 game, or maybe Super Nintendo game, put onto a PS4 disc. What's not to love? Still not got around to playing that yet, but I have played it on the Super Nintendo. Caldarius Blaze, this is one of my first PS4 shmups that I got, and put quite a bit of time in it. Basically, again, another Maiden style game. You can pick through different like girls to play as in your ships, and yeah, there's some bizarre cutscenes in it, I've got to say. Very fan servicey, but still a very enjoyable game, and I put quite a bit of time into this when I first got it. So yeah, really recommend getting this. Again, this was originally a 360 and PS3 game. Next up, we've got Battle Garega. What do I need to say about Battle Garega that's not been said before? I've got 2 copies of this. I've got a special edition that's sealed up there that doesn't have a disc in it, so I'd have to get the Korean store to play it. So I've got a disc version of it so I can play, which is still sealed. I mean, the thing is, I can play it on there, can play on my actual arcade. Problems. Ace Breed. Yeah, this one, again, I didn't really enjoy this one so much. I know it's sealed, but I think I've got a digital copy. Yeah, it's a bit strange. A very 3D game. This is very 3D based, and I think it tries to change up the angles a little bit too much. Again, this was a long time ago when I got this. I mean, what's this? Limited Run 51, and I played it straight away. So what have we got over here? So we've got Androdunus 2. So this is a sequel of a Neo Geo game that wasn't really talked about too much compared to a lot of them. But yeah, this was a sequel that was sort of, I don't know if it was canned or if it was finished or made later on. But yeah, it's a good game. It's not a bad game at all. This is number 5 of 1,000. Is that say 5? 8 of 1,000. 8 of 1,000. Limited. And I've opened it. What an absolute pleb. I've played this on the PS4 and I played it on the 3DS. Really cool to play on the 3DS. Although the 3D not always the best. The layers don't really always work out. But still cool because it's a pixelated shmup. I know Callum Retro Getter really raves about this game, but it's just okay. There is a lot better games out there. Another game that's just come into my collection is Shinryobi. This is a modern take of a bullet hell game, and it does look good. However, the ship looks a little bit too big, if I remember correctly. But yeah, looking forward to playing that. Next up, we've got Pocky and Rocky Reshined. This is, I had this in my arcade for ages and I never got around to actually beating it. It's fucking brutally hard. I've heard once you beat it, there's this character that you get next and then you can just walk through the game. It gets a bit easier. So I think this is basically a mashup of 1 and 2 and then just with a full-on visual overhaul. Fantastic game. Obviously this is Kiki Kai Kai because it's the Japanese one. Next up, we've got the special edition. So these don't live in the arcade thing. A lot of these I've just got on display and I need to probably get out so I can play. So this one, Akai Katana. A lot of people probably have this on the 360 already. However, obviously I need to play it in the arcade eventually. So this is a horizontal cave shmup. Really cool. Don't get many horizontal cave shmups other than Deathsmiles and this. And yeah, it's a bullet hell horizontal shooter that probably didn't get much talk about up until this release, I think. Yeah, really cool. We've got the special edition of Batsugun. Annoyingly comes with this like stupid thing that comes off. But at the same time, I still wouldn't have it any other way. Next up, we have got the box for Raiden 3, and we have got the box for Raiden. That's Raiden 4, and this is Raiden 3. So yeah, I've not actually played Raiden 3 on. No, I have played it on here. Why have I not? I don't know. Don't know what's going on. Because I wanted to see how it compares to the PS2 port. Because I used to have, well, I still do. I've got the Japanese PS2 port. Yeah, I think this is realistically 4's good. This is the last true good Raiden. This one is a bit of a cracker. It is good. Still no Raiden 1 though, is it? I mean, Raiden 1 is where it's at. Is it the best shmup? Not even a chance. But it's still good. Sorry about that, James. And then we've got, from the Cave Collection, we've got Dangon Feveron, which is another Cave shmup. However, this is one of the early Caves games, so it's not like completely full-on bullet hell. But this is the only one this is the only shmup that's a disco-based shmup, hence why you kind of got this like glittery box art. One of my favourite box arts, really cool. The game is just okay. It's not the best, but they've really put a lot of special attention to detail for this, and I'm really glad to have this. And last game in the series, now I can put everything away and then have a drink because my voice is going. We've got Darius Cozmic Collection. So this is the arcade and console games. So this is a really nice collection. And I probably should get the games out of here. So I'm going to pull the games out. We don't need to see the bits inside. We just need to see the games. All of it's fallen out anyway. So yeah, you get on 2 different discs. I'm going to pull these out now. So this is the arcade one. So you get Darius 1, Darius 2, Psikyo, which is, as far as I know, is just Darius 2. So I don't know what the differences are there. Maybe it's just it's probably like Super Darius, because there's so many versions of Darius 2 out there. And then you got Darius Gaiden, which is the best Darius game out there, full stop. Don't need to play any other Darius games, just play Darius Gaiden. And then we've got the console collection, the Cosmic Collection, which is probably more bang for your buck. You got Darius 2, Psikyo, again, same game. Darius Twin, which is the Super Nintendo game, which is probably just Darius 2 again. Darius Force, which was a Super Nintendo game. I don't know if it was on anything else. Darius Alpha, which I think again is just a remixed version of the original Darius. And then Darius Plus, these were both on the PC Engine, and I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Darius Alpha, which is like goes for stupid money on the PC Engine. I can't remember. There's 2 games on the PC Engine, yeah, about 5 or 6 different releases for these 2 different games. It's absolutely batshit crazy, and then I've got them all over again. Honestly, if you don't have a Darius game in your collection, then I don't think you've really collected. But anyway, I'm going to go for a fucking lie down now. I'm knackered. I've just been doing this for 2 hours straight. I don't know how people do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I would love to see a VR of any of you guys, if you've got this far. I'd like to see a VR of you guys. I'm going to put it out for you. Do you have a section of games that you purposely section off for a reason? Be it shmups, platformers, RPGs, just games that you have just because of that genre. Do you have that in your collection? And if you do, show them off. Show us what you got. So anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.